Okay, so after you complete row 22, your work will look like this. I have raised the camera so that you guys have a better view. I think this is a little bit better. So rather than doing the scallop trim right now, I'm going to continue and finish with the pink yarn. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the sleeves, and then we're going to crochet around the collar to make it a little bit smaller, okay? And then afterwards, we'll do the trim, and I'm going to do all of my trim using a white yarn. Okay, so when you do the sleeves, what you want to do is you want to join your yarn in the back. And that's because you want this join seam to be visible from the back, not from the front, okay? And as you can see, when you join your yarn, the seam is going to move in the right direction. Just going to move to the right as you're crocheting in the round. So what you want to do is, let's say I'm doing this sleeve here first, you're going to want to attach the yarn up here. That way your join seam will move in this direction and not around to the front. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to join up here. I'm going to join my yarn and chain 2. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double crochet in each stitch around, and then down here I'm going to double crochet in this stitch and that stitch, and then I'm going to double crochet once in the middle there. That's where those 2 V stitches were joined, and then I'm going to double crochet in this stitch and then continue on in those double crochets. Those are the double crochets that we skipped over to create the armhole. Okay, and remember, you always make your first double crochet in that stitch that you joined to. I apologize if it's noisy there. Mowing the lawns today outside. And for the 0-3 month size, we are going to do this for a total of 14 rounds, and you'll just be making 1 double crochet in each stitch. Okay, it does get a little tricky here in the underarm area. And because it can be hard to see where all of the stitches are, I do recommend that afterwards you count how many stitches you have. That way you make sure that you end up having the same amount on the other side, so that at least the 2 sleeves are exactly the same. So in my written pattern online, this is round 1 because it's the first round of the sleeve. So I don't count these as part of it just because I think that would make it more confusing. So this would be considered round 1. All right, and then you want to count your stitches so that you know how many you have to make sure you end up with the same amount for the other sleeve. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27. Perfect. Okay. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a stitch marker around one of the double crochets from round 1. That way when I'm counting my rows later, it's easier to know which one is supposed to be number 1, just because these blend in together here and it's hard to tell, or it can be hard to tell. So that's round 1, and we are now just double crocheting. So for each round, you join to the first double crochet, chain 2, make your first double crochet in that same stitch that you joined to, and then you just double crochet once in each stitch. Okay, so we're doing round 2. So each round is going to have 27 stitches if you ended up with the same as me. If you're making a larger size, you will have more stitches. Okay, I'm now working on round 3. I started daydreaming, sorry, I should have said something there. So you joined to the top of that first double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in that same stitch there. So you're going to do this for 14 rounds, and then round 15 is going to be a scallop trim, just like the bottom of the cardigan will be. And I'll be showing you exactly how to do that. It's very simple, and I think it adds a lot. I think it looks really cute. And there's so many different things you could do with this cardigan. So you could make it in any color and then just make a simple beanie to go with it, and you have a perfect baby shower gift. Or if there's an outfit, like your little one has a dress, you could just easily use matching colors and quickly make a basic cardigan to go with it. Okay, you're going to join to the top of that first double crochet. It's just a slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet in that same stitch that you joined to, and then double crochet around. join to the top of that first double crochet. All right, so we have done 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds together. Just continue the same thing. So you're gonna join to your first double crochet, chain 2, and then double crochet once in each stitch around. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and finish this sleeve. I'm gonna do through round 14, and then I'm also going to do the other sleeve. Now when you join this sleeve, make sure you join further down because your join seam is going to move in this direction to the right, okay? So whereas up here, we joined more towards the top because the seam will go this way. For the other sleeve, for the left-hand sleeve, you want to join closer to the bottom so your seam has room to move up to the right, okay? That way you don't see it from the front. So go ahead and pause this video here. Finish both sleeves through round 14 and then hit play for us to go ahead and move on to doing the collar. Okay, so now that both of the sleeves are done, we are going to go ahead and do the collar. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the collar a little bit smaller by alternating between double crocheting 2 together and double crocheting in 1. And what I like to do, since this was our beginning chain, there's no stitch on this size to easily crochet into. So I like to work between the stitches. Okay, so we'll be working in those spaces between. So go ahead and attach your yarn. We're going to start on the left side and then work our way around to the other side. And then when we're done with that, we can add our trim. Okay, so you're still using your whatever color yarn you used for the body of the cardigan is the color that you're going to use for the collar. Attach your yarn, chain 2, and then you're going to double crochet 2 together. And again, you're working in between those stitches. And then double crochet once, and then double crochet 2 together again. And then double crochet in the next space, and then double crochet 2 together again. And you can see it's already tightening up the collar to make that space a little bit smaller, which will help it be a little bit warmer so there's not as much room for air around the neck. Double crochet and double crochet 2 together. And double crochet. And then double crochet 2 together. Okay, so just continue alternating all the way around. You'll double crochet 2 together and then double crochet in 1. And then you're just going to do this until you get to this side, and then we'll finish off at that end. And then we're done with the main color yarn. Okay. All right, so you can see that actually tightened up that collar quite a bit, and I think that looks much better for a cardigan. Okay, so you're gonna have to weave in all of these ends later, but for now, just gonna leave them. And if you ended on a double crochet two together like I did, what I'll just do is thread this yarn through here, and then just, you know, you use your yarn tails to straighten that out and make that look nice and tidy. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and begin the scallop trim, beginning here at the bottom. Let's see here. I'm going to start, we're just going to go ahead and start with the scallop trim here. If we go around this way, we'll end here, and then we can work our way up. Okay. So position your cardigan like this, with the bottom facing away from you, the opening facing towards you. We are going to attach whatever colored yarn you want to use as your accent color. You're going to attach that here at the bottom in that first stitch. And I am going to be using white. And actually, let me get this over here. And I'll move my pink yarn out of the way. Okay. All right, and I'm going to show you how to make the scallop trim. And this is the same thing that you're going to be doing at the bottom of each sleeve. Okay, so you're going to attach your yarn over, and then you're not chaining in the beginning. What you're going to do is you're going to skip this next stitch. So you attach the first one, skip the next one, and in this third stitch, you are going to make 4 double crochet, all in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you have your first scallop. Now you are going to skip this next stitch, and in this stitch you are going to slip stitch. Okay. Now, once again, yarn over, skip the next stitch, and in the stitch after that, you are going to make 4 double crochet. You follow that same pattern. So skip the next stitch. In the stitch after that, you're going to slip stitch. Skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that, make 4 double crochet. Skip the next stitch, slip stitch in the stitch after that. Skip that next stitch here, make 4 double crochet in the next stitch. Skip that next stitch, slip stitch in the next stitch there, skip a stitch, and then make 4 double crochet. Okay, skip the next stitch. Let me untangle my yarn here. Okay, skip the next stitch, slip stitch, skip the next stitch, 4 double crochet. Skip the next stitch, slip stitch, skip the next stitch, make 4 double crochet. Skip the next stitch, slip stitch, skip the next stitch, 4 double crochet. And just continue this pattern until you get to the other end, and then do not finish off we are going to continue to single crochet around the cardigan from there. Sometimes, so this is actually working out perfectly because I have 2 more stitches left, so I'll slip stitch in that last stitch. Sometimes it won't work out that way. You just have to make a judgment call on whether or not you want to fit in another scallop, or whether you think you should just slip stitch and finish off. So you just have to see what looks best. But luckily this worked out with the spacing. So I'm going to slip stitch there. Okay, so this is what it looks like now from the front. I think it just adds a lot to it. I really like this scallop edge look. Okay, from the back. Okay, so now we are going to, so don't finish off, we are going to continue single crocheting up the side, around the collar, and back down the other side, okay? So go ahead and for the corner, because I want my corner to have a 90-degree angle if possible here, I'm going to chain 1 so that the yarn has room to move around. Chain 1, tighten up that string there, and then I'm going to single crochet around. Now because There's no actual stitches to work into. You're working into the sides of the double crochet. Just do your best to space your single crochets out evenly. You don't want them too far in or it'll create holes. So just do your best to work into those spaces that are close to the edge. Okay. You really just have to use your judgment on this. Make sure they're spaced out as evenly as possible. Okay, and just like down here, when you get to the top, let's see here. Actually, go ahead and crochet into the side of that stitch at the top of the collar. Okay, and then chain one so you can turn and begin working into the tops of those double crochet. This is where we did our double crochet and then double crochet two together. And then I like to occasionally lay it flat like that and just stretch it out because you don't want to make these stitches too tight. Okay, now I'm at the front. And so before I finish off here, I want to go ahead and thread this down so that I know how the edge is going to look here. I'm going to take that pass it through there. Okay. And then single crochet, and then single crochet here. Okay, and then here, this is where this will be tightened up. So I'm in a single crochet. This is where I will chain one and then start single crocheting into the side on the way down. And it looks a little confusing here. I need to tighten that. Okay, you can turn it. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to chain one. Chain one. Oh no, I did chain one. Sorry. Okay, I already chained one. And I'm going to single crochet into the side of that stitch. And now when these are tightened up, I'm sorry, I hope you can see this. When that's tightened up, you can see it's going to turn down. Okay. And then just continue single crocheting down the side just like you did on the other side when we single crocheted up. Oops. That happens to me once in a while. The yarn slips off. Okay, almost done here. Okay, and then at the end here, what I'm going to do is chain one to turn, and then I'm going to slip stitch and join underneath that initial double crochet for that first scallop. Okay, all right, so then you're going to snip your yarn, pull it through. All right, so there we have the scalloped edge at the bottom of our cardigan and the trim around the collar, and I think it looks super cute. Before I show you how to do the sleeve, I want to mention that there are a lot of different things you could do here. Like you could add a cute little pocket or some buttons. There are just lots of different things that you could do. I'm just going to leave it plain and basic like this. I do think I'm going to design a cardigan where I have a hood for it, and I might show you that in one of my next tutorials how to do that. But for now, I'm just going to leave this one just like this, and I'm going to show you now how to do the scalloped edge. Okay, so like I showed you earlier, we joined our yarn for the sleeve so that the joining seam is in the back. So this is the one that I had shown you, and then here's the one that I did off camera. Okay, and you can see that seam moves to the right, okay? I'm going to go ahead and remove those stitch markers. Okay, and I'm just going to show you how to do one of the sleeves because it's exactly the same. Go ahead, and I like to attach my yarn where I had left off with the main color. And again, I'm going to be using my white still, which fell on the floor here. Okay, All right, so go ahead and just like we did for the bottom, for this part, you're going to join your yarn. So just pull it through, wrap your yarn over, and then skip that first stitch, and in the next stitch make 4 double crochet. You'll notice this will happen. You just need to tighten that. And once everything's tied off and all the ends are woven in, that won't be a problem anymore. 3, 4. Okay, skip the next stitch and then slip stitch in the next after that. Okay. Skip the next stitch and then make another 4 double crochet. You know, I actually don't like how I think I did that a little too loose there. Okay, that's where I did my slip stitch. Something got tangled here. Oh, just bear with me. Sorry about that. Okay, so I have 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to fix this real quick. So that's my first scallop. Then I'm going to skip a stitch and slip stitch in the next. Okay. And then skip a stitch and then make 4 double crochet in the next. Okay, skip the next stitch and then slip stitch. Skip the next stitch, make 4 double crochet. Skip the next stitch, slip stitch, skip that next stitch and make 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip the next stitch and then slip stitch. Skip the next stitch, 4 double crochet. 3 and 4. Skip the next stitch, slip stitch. Skip the next stitch. 4 double crochet. If you hear that in the background, that's Sarge. Poor Sarge had a bad day yesterday. He threw up, and then on our walk, he hurt his toe, and then we got back, and there was a thunderstorm. He was scared, so I'm hoping he has a better day today. 1, 2. I guess I should say he hurt his paw. He was trying to take his muzzle off that he has to wear so he doesn't pull me, and he got one of his nails caught. So not his toe, but his nail. Okay, so at the end, when you're done, go ahead and slip stitch. I like to slip stitch underneath that first double crochet there. Okay. And then you'll snip your yarn, pull it through, and then you'll end up weaving all those ends. And so all of this will get tightened up. You'll thread this through to the other side, tie them off, and weave those ends in so you can't see them. Okay, so you have a lot of ends to weave in, but I don't think it's too bad. So you're going to go ahead and repeat that process for this side. But here's how your cardigan will look. So you'll have your scallop trim along the sleeves and along the bottom. And I think it looks super cute like this. Okay guys, I really hope that you found this crochet along helpful. If you have any questions, I'm always checking my YouTube channel and I like to respond to comments, so please feel free to ask me below. I will post a link to the pattern on my website, and again, the sizes are 0-3 months, 3-6 months, 6-12 months, and 12-24 months. I have them sized out that way because of the way the average measurements worked out. It just made sense to size them in those sizes. So I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. Now that the kids are back in school, my goal is to bring you one new YouTube tutorial and pattern every week. So make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and then also head over to my blog and subscribe there. I send out emails every time I post a new pattern. Okay, all right, have a great day. Thank you.